That's fine. So, okay, if I ask you a question now, you calculated profit from your accounting software and you press the button, the system giving you an answer 100,000. And you go and check your bank, you should have 100,000 there. No. There is no any condition to say that whatever the reported profit, that should be the exact amount must be sitting in the bank. The bank balance can be sometimes greater than this, can be sometimes equal to this. Equal to this can be very little possibility, or sometimes it will be very less than this. But the owners of the business, they really don't understand the correct concept of profits. Owners always understand the cash. They only see the bank balance and the cash balance. And if an accountant goes and tells an owner that we have produced a profit of 1 million, and he is going to immediately ask, where is my profit, how much is sitting in the bank? And if you tell me, sir, only 50,000 in the bank, then he doesn't want to believe you that this much profit the business is generated. In order to give the correct explanation for this to the owner, we need to prepare the third document known as cash flow statement. What the cash flow statement does, we start our document from profit. And we arrive at the bottom, what is the closing cash balance available in my bank. So the journey starting from profits to bank balance, we will have all the in-between line items. That line item will explain our owner as to how the profit is get distributed to different portion of our business. Some of the profits could be with the customers. When we sell goods on credit and the customer still did not pay to us. Some of the profit sitting in our inventory. Yes. We purchase item that is sitting there and we couldn't convert it and get it cash. So there are some items. Some are with our suppliers actually. So on top of this also there are certain items, you call it non-cash items. So what do you mean by non-cash item? A good example, can you tell me? One good example for in your profit and loss account, in arriving this 100,000, one of the expense which is not a cash.
Depreciation.
Depreciation is not a cash item. You understood what the depreciation is?
Depreciation, you told me before, what's meaning?
Clear? Understood? So like this table, we are using it. A certain portion of this value has to be reduced over the period. So that is depreciation. But when I am charging to P&L, but it is not a cash. So my profit would have been gone down, but if my business is only having that item only in my P&L, my cash balance must be greater than this. But we also do have other items. So this is the third document, which is statement of cash flow. The fourth document, statement of changes in equity. This document is very important. After actually this requirement came in after the introduction of IAS 1. IAS 1 has made it mandatory for all financial statements to show a correct reconciliation of the changes in equity. Equity means the capital. In other words, the amount of resources belong to the owner. Amount of resources belong to the owner. The owner's resources could be one way the share capital or the capital. Number two, partner's current account or current account. Number three, retained earnings. And sometimes in Qatar point of view, we also have legal reserve. Because of the Qatar government, the company's law, every year 10% of the profits should be transferred to a reserve known as legal reserve. From an accounting point of view, we will later, when we study private limited liability companies, we will talk about it. There are two types of reserves. One is what we call revenue reserve. Other one is capital reserve. This legal reserve is one example of capital reserve. Once you take a portion from your profits and keep it under this legal reserve, later for any normal requirement you cannot take from that reserve. That has to be kept it very strictly restricted. Only when you can use it for some bad situation, if you have to close the company, you need additional reserves, then you take it from there. To give dividends to the shareholders, you cannot take from that. Likewise, whatever the movements of all these, we need to picturize under this document known as Statement of Changes in Equity. So, Statement of Financial Position, Statement of Profit and Loss Account, Statement of Cash Flow, and Statement of Changes in Equity. On top of all these four, if as a preparer of a financial statement accountants, if we need to tell the users many information about how this financial statement is being produced and what are the business nature and what policies and principles we used and what implications this business has because of the accounting. If you wanted to picturize all this in document, that is the fifth item, that is known as notes and disclosures. Sometimes these notes can be calculation. Like for example, you have property, plant and equipment. A particular note detailing how the movements of your fixed asset. Sometimes descriptive notes. You will write about contingencies or contingent liabilities. Now, so that is the summary. Is that very clear? Any doubts on this or any question? Faham?
You will give example
For
this or this description?
we have already written that all 5 titles. So we will write down the meaning of it. Yeah. So just write down first one, Statement of Financial Position, SOFP in short. Statement of financial position. In short we call it SOFP. We have an old name, balance sheet. BS, balance sheet. So you can say that this document is produced
Soft or this?
Statement of financial position. See, SOFP. SOFP. That's in short. This document is produced in order to
This document
is produced, this document is produced in order to elaborate the financial status.
Elaborate?
Yeah, elaborate means explain.
ELO?
ELOBORATE. Elaborate.
What's meaning, Mr. Muhammad?
Explain. Elaborate is another word to say explain.
Okay.
Elaborate the financial status of the business.
Financial statement or status of?
Status, not the statement. Financial status.
Yes.
Financial status of the business at any given point of time. That's very important. Now please underline that, at any given point of time.
At
any given point of time. That's very
give any
at any given
Point of
give n
given point
point
of time. At any given point of time.
This not like profit and loss.
No.
Profit and loss start and
What do you call that? Mizani Muragga.
ميزان المراجعة.
No,
Trial balance.
not trial balance. The balance sheet. What is the in Arabic?
ثانية.
Mizani is financial statement.
هو يوجد أرباح الخسائر.
Hmm?
بروفيت اند لوس
Hmm.
الأرباح والخسائر.
إيه هذا profit and loss. هذا ما في. This one balance sheet. حبيبي هذا. So you have assets, capital and liabilities.
Mr. Muhammad, you told this balance sheet وكان reduced at the end your
At the any given point of time.
but here why you,
Any given point of time.
but you told when you explain you
Yeah.
told at the end,
Yeah.
not any.
Habibi. Yeah, that's exactly what it means by this. Now today, if you want to prepare the balance sheet, now what the time now? Tell me time.
Here now
4:30. Let's say 4:30 or 4:27.
Mm.
You can prepare a balance sheet. On that time, you go to your system, open the report, click the button for balance sheet. They will give you a balance sheet. Understood? After now 6 p.m. If you want to prepare a balance sheet again at 6 p.m. also, you can prepare. But it will give you exactly at that time. Now how much I have to pay? Let's say for example, payable. I need to pay someone at 4 o'clock 2000 riyals. But at 5 p.m. I purchase something from that fellow again 500 riyal. Now 6 p.m. you prepare the balance sheet. Now how much the payable will be? It will increase. Originally 4 p.m. it will show me how much? 2000. 6 p.m. it will show me how much?
Yes.
2500. So you could prepare balance sheet, but that should be on that particular time. At the as you say, it is at the end, but it can be any time, like you decide. That's what we say at any given point of time.
Okay.
Clear?
But profit and loss
For
start
for
and end.
exactly.
Some question come like this. Need
Definition? No. Don't do it. But it will come like this. Yes, no. We will see questions. But you need to have the basic understanding of this. That's exactly what I wanted you to establish. So this is statement of financial position. Next one is statement of profit and loss account. Statement of profit and loss account. Now, in the last class I talked about a mirror. If you go and stand in front of the mirror now, you will see, okay, I can see from here, you will see your beautiful face. After that you go somewhere and put some dye and then come and stand again, your face will change. So, same thing with the balance sheet. Any time the balance sheet you take, that time what the situation of the business you will understand. You understood now?
Yes, clear.
Okay. So second one is statement of profit and loss. You can say that this document is prepared to establish the financial performance.
establish the
Financial performance.
financial
Performance.
Performance like
Activity.
activity or stats.
Not status, activity.
I know short.
Like for example, you are doing a race. So when you want to see the performance of a guy who is making a race, you need to see his performance from the start to end. How he ran, isn't it?
Yes.
Same story. So a profit and loss account to see how the business is performing during the period. So if you want to prepare a P&L for today, you need to prepare from morning to evening. Not at 4 o'clock or not at 5 o'clock or not at 6 o'clock. Is that clear? So that is statement of profit and loss account. Number 3.
This
Yeah.
the document is established to financial performance
Of the business. Financial performance of the
business, but for a
for a
particular
given period of time. For a given period of time. So it could be a day, a week, a month, a quarter, biannual or even annual. So that is the number 2. Number 3. Statement of cash flow.
Of cash.
Flow. FLOW. Statement of cash flow. A reconciliation. A reconciliation of
What's meaning this reconciliation?
you know what is bank reconciliation? Bank reconciliation.
comparing.
You know, when you have bank statement balance, 2000 riyal. In your ledger, bank ledger, 1500 riyal. So these two are not equal. So you need to understand why this 500 riyal different. So you go and sit and search everything. You know, I issue a check to the supplier, he didn't put to the bank. I deposit some money, but the bank didn't realize. So this type of activity is known as reconciliation. If you do it for bank, then we call it bank reconciliation. But the same if you do it for this situation, that is what we are talking about here. See, when I calculate my profits, 100,000 profit I have, but my real situation, I have a bank ODM 50,000. So then I was going crazy. What nonsense? What the hell? I am making profit and then you still showing me bank liability. Then you go and do this. So
This meaning some like a check or audit or.
exactly.
Ah.
Yeah. شنو بقول هذا reconciliation.
مقارنة. compare.
تمام.
Mm.
Okay.
So a reconciliation of profits to the cash availability of the business.
The cash ايه؟
Availability. The cash availability of the business over a period of time.
Or
Over a period of time. Again, this is for like a given period, like 3 months, 6 months, 1 month, like that. So balance sheet is only for particular day.
Over.
Over a period of time. So
cash flow دي معناها اساس. cash flow دي.
here I told you.
زي ما قال لك كده مثلا في عندنا ارباح وليكن 100,000 بس فين بقى المبلغ ده؟ عن طريق اللي هو كشف النقديه دوت يعرف لك مثلا في مثلا 1000 عند السبلاير.
تفاصيل يعني.
See here, this is the company's profit or loss. May they are making a loss.
Net loss.
But here they have cash.
Yes.
How come when the company is making a loss, they are making a cash? When the owner want to understand this, you give this. This is what happens.
Yes.
Okay?
Points.
Yeah. So these are different calculations that way you will do. So just pass it to them. But don't write that. This is one original document for a client. So that is cash flow statement. Start with the profitability and then you reach the availability of cash. Sometimes you may have cash, your cash will be with the bank. Sometimes the bank's cash you have to have taken. That's bank OD. Understand me? So that is.
Is this like balance? Like balance must be zero.
Not zero, that you see. We should, when we complete the calculation.
And now here loss
Yes.
5,000.
Correct.
Must be lost 5,000 also.
No, that's not loss down. That's the cash. How from the loss of 5,000, how you bring to the connection to the cash? By profit or loss, how it is contributed to have that, how much is 22,000 or something, right?
23.
23,000. So that 23,000, how I got it? So if the owner want to understand this, you show this document.
This cash in hand.
Yeah,
We have cash in house, this we have is saying that it's loss.
Yeah.
This is the detail.
yes. And if you simply show this number and this number to the owner, you see that number is where. That's another point. See here.
This cash in hand or all cash income?
Incomplete. Cash in hand, cash at bank.
Ah,
The cash of the business.
ah,
It could be cash in hand or
cash at bank.
cash at bank. Correct? You see here, you are making this is a profit and loss account. You give this to the owner. And then he will see here, there's a loss. Then you give the balance sheet. So when you give the balance sheet, that balance sheet is here. See, here, cash of 22,000. Now if you show this 2 to the owner, he will go crazy. Then my friend come here, you see I am having a loss of this much, and then how come I have this much cash? So that working only we are showing in the.
Is this different ميزانية?
هذا profit and loss account.
No, this one.
Another profit and loss.
Yeah,
Another balance sheet.
هذا balance sheet.
Balance sheet different ميزانية?
ميزانية is كامل. هذا كامل document شيء ميزانية بس. Financial statement.
Okay.
It has parts. أول شيء balance sheet هذه. Okay. ثاني profit and loss account هذه. في ثاني cash flow statement هذه. لكن هذا خمسة نمونة. صح؟
أيوة.
It's practice.
So, and finally, the auditor signs here.
Yes.
And then his neck will go. Don't tell this to Mr. Rajit Talima. So,
Only.
yeah, only here. Yes, I will share the video. Right. So, that is the mechanism. So, you have a balance sheet, a profit and loss account, a cash flow statement, and statement of changes in equity, and disclosure note. You see here so much of notes. Sometimes these users may not understand these descriptive notes. And here, see, we have all this. So this has realistic meanings. For example, operating expense. How we calculated operating expense, we are explaining there. But no one bothers to read this. That's another story. So that's the we then talked about the statement of cash flow. Fourth one, statement of changes in equity. Statement of changes in equity. Now, you know, it's a puzzle. The puzzle, what do you call that? Puzzle or the bricks connected, no? Pulley in vehicle. a vehicle engine to operate, all pulleys to be connected. Now I hope
In
you
one
will know.
belt, yeah, there is four.
You know this. I'm not a good artist. This is one pulley, another pulley like this. So if I want to move this one, this should also rotate. In watch, in vehicle, engines, like this, no? Same story here. The P&L, the balance sheet, the cash flow, the statement of business equity, all connected. So you do one change to one of the document, all others also will get changed. Understand me?
Yes.
So that is like, there is a good term I actually forgot. It's a puzzle, not a puzzle. It's sort of a connected, I will tell you there's a right term, I forget now.
Integrated?
Integrated, interconnected are normal terms, but the special terms there. I will let you know. Anyway, so what is the statement of changes in equity? You can write it down. Net movement. A net movement of equity components. Equity components. Net movement of equity components among the
Sorry?
among AMONG among
Between
between among the owner's capital
the owner's capital.
owner's capital will be shown in the statement of
will be shown
will be shown in the statement of changes in equity, SOCIE,
Shown
in the statement of changes in equity. So that is the SOC. The last one, accounting and other disclosure notes.
last one.
Yeah, accounting and other notes, you can say. Oh, yeah, disclosure notes or notes, both okay. Accounting and other notes.
So the changes are chosen at a particular given point of time or
Period. Sorry, it's a given, yeah. It's in a given period, huh?
What was that?
Yeah.
What was that actually?
See, statement of changes in equity also prepared for a given period. So only the balance sheet is prepared for given date. Right. So now we
It should
then
be at a given period. Huh?
yeah. مشكور أبدا.
At a given period. Shows the statement of
أصبر صبرا جميل.
at a given.
What is changing to
Last one,
executive? What
accounting,
is this?
other
No.
all of this
Part of the
all of this points meaning you talk
Statement of-
total
statement.
financial statement.
financial statement.
Misania.
This is one.
Changes
Yes, equity
at a given period.
For a given period, not at a. For a given period.
For a given. Okay.
If you say at a given period, that will give a
Then-
different meaning. For a given period of time, it will cover for a given period of time.
For a given period of time.
So last one we have to say accounting and other notes. When the preparer, when the preparer opines, when the preparer opines, what do you mean by opines is that he is in opinion of, this word to say all of that. He is of the opinion. When I want to say is of the opinion, I am using this word, opines. So when the preparer opines that providing additional information, that providing additional information will be useful to the user and
will be
useful to the user, and accordingly the notes are provided. The notes are provided. These notes could be
Are provided.
Provided full stop. This note could be either numerical,
could be
either numerical or descriptive. I hope you understood this.
Numbers or and words.
زي أصغر وأكبر. أصغر صح؟ Easier.
Could be,
and أصغر
could
وأكبر.
be means it may be, it's possibly.
لا easier.
Either.
meaning
Either means this
So that.
هذا ولا هذا. Either.
meaning okay.
Okay.
Could be
Could be either numerical or descriptive. I will add one more word, please. Or both. Numerical. You understood this final sentence, Yasir?
no.
or this description.
Okay. So you understood this one actually? This is clear? Either
Or both.
walla. In Arabic we say walla.
ولا
Walla hada, walla hada.
هذا ولا هذا.
Hay walla hada.
okay.
That word walla is either. Then numerical or descriptive? Numerical yani numbers.
Okay.
See, in this, we said that we have 5 components. Profit and loss account, balance sheet, cash flow, statement of changes in equity. That are 4. All those 4 with the numbers. If you open, you will find it out. You will see numbers here. But in addition, later in the back also, in some places we have numbers. So those numbers are not part of the financial statement, but that is notes. You understand me?
Notes,
And some descriptive writing also. Descriptive and text writing without numbers.
Explanation. All this
Explanation,
numbers.
exactly. So it could be either numerical or descriptive or sometimes both. Is that clear?
Three choice.
So you know the importance of this using full stop, comma. That's very important. There is a, I don't know, I told you all this. Did I told you? There's one small story. There's a court judgment for a person to give a hang to death, kill him. So judge is writing the decision judgment like this: kill him, not let him go. Now this person in the jail, judgment has taken place in the court, and those days no email, no WhatsApp, it's going in paper. So the man who carries this, he need to take this to the jail and give it to the jailer to take the action. The man who carries felt mercy on this particular guilty party. the judge forget to put the comma. The judge supposed to have put the comma here. Kill him, not let him go. But he forget to put the comma. Then this man who carries the message, he is reading it, no comma. Then what he did, he put the comma here.
Kill him not, don't kill
Kill
him.
him not, let him go. Then the message went to the jail. The jailer was reading it, and then he said, okay, Kalas, you go.
Don't read
So
it.
these are known as what marks are those called? Pronunciation marks. That's very important. Comma, full stop, question mark, exclamation marks. So those are correctly we need to put. Anyway, not an English class this one, but just thought of telling this. So we will continue with this. So now these are the 5 different components. Now we talk about something called we earlier studied components of financial statement. Now we study elements of financial statements.
This خلاص finish this
خلاص
one.
بعدين هذه جديد نمونة جديد.
أيوه.
نمونة هذا داخل الدوحة ما في نغلط كلام صح؟
This means like something.
نمونة يعني topic صح؟
لا، احنا عندنا في مصر الليمون هذا عصير.
عصير جوز؟
Yes.
والله؟ هذا داخل دبي؟ داخل كلام عربي داخل دبي؟ वो गुल नमूना यानी या सब्जेक्ट न्यू सब्जेक्ट यानी a topic
Acid being drink, huh?
Yes.
सिर هذا جوس برتقالي ممكن انت فكر شنو انت تقول هذا نمونا
I think sample or templates because labels هذا أصغر لمنها.
Okay, anyway, elements of financial statement. Now we said that we have profit and loss account. That's one component. This component has 2 elements. One is income. What do you think the second element is?
Expense.
Expense. So, one of the component is profit and loss account, and that component has 2 elements. One is income, other one is expense. Then we have balance sheet. The balance sheet has 3 elements. One is asset, other one is liability, and the third one, what do you think?
Equity.
Equity or
Capital.
so a financial statement has 5 components and 5 elements. Understand me now? So if I name this one is P&L, and this one is statement of
Financial position.
financial position. So you can say that elements are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. First one income, expense, assets, liability, and capital.
First elements of what?
Pardon?
First one
Income, elements of financial statement. Elements of financial statements.
Point number बोलो मैं.
Yes. So now let's try to define these 5 elements. First one, income. So what is income?
Income some like sales, some like all some like this.
All our revenue that we generate from our activity. All revenue.
العائدات هذا عربي العائدات.
عائدات.
عائدات أيوة.
عائدات.
Revenues.
All revenues that generated throughout the period
Just generated what?
Generated. Generated throughout the period. Throughout. Throughout the period. In other words, during the period. Another word for throughout is during. During the period.
Throughout.
Throughout the period. Ready? Means during.
Throughout the period.
Throughout the period.
Very.
Throughout the period. In operation of the business. In operation of the business. Throughout the period in operation of the business. So that is income. You can give many examples. Sales, turnover, then interest income, dividend income, royalty income. You can think of writing all this. So these are income. Then expense. Expenses are amount of money incurred. Incurred. Amount of money incurred. Incurred in carrying out the operation of the business. Incurred in carrying out. Carrying. Carrying out the operation of the business. Carrying out the operation of the business. During the period or throughout the period. Carrying out the what you call the operation of the business during the period. During. Yes, during the period. So that is what you call expense. Now, assets. The third element is asset. But we have defined asset before. But anyway, we will write it down. Assets are resources. Resources. R-E-S-O-U-R-C-E-S. Assets are resources owned. O-W-N-E-D. Owned. Resources. Owned. And or controlled. And or controlled by the business. By the business. As a result of.
By the business?
Yeah, by the business as a result of. As a result of past transaction. Now let's say, for example, you open this door and come and you suddenly see this TV here. And then you think this TV came from the sky?
Again?
One fine morning, in the Battalabab, super color TV. In the Battal TV, one can from the sky?
No. Owner bring or
Owner or someone bring yesterday, last week, last